Booktube, welcome back. I'm Winx, and the ink I'm talking about today is my Q&A, as well as announcing the winners of my giveaway, just to generally say thank you to you guys for supporting me and my channel, and to celebrate hitting 1,000 subscribers. Outrageous. You all are so great, and you left so many awesome questions that there's actually no possible way I could answer them all without this video being like 2 hours long, so I'm just going to answer as many as I can, and it's still probably going to be a long video. I broke the questions up into a few different categories, and I'm going to put some links down in the description box so you can jump between the categories and see the ones that you're interested in without having to also listen to me ramble about a bunch of stuff you're not interested in. So hopefully that is helpful. And if I did not answer your question in this video, don't worry, because I am going to answer all of them eventually. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a Q&A part 2 or if I'm just going to do like I did last time and go through the original video and leave comment replies to answer the questions that I don't get to in the actual video. I think I'm going to just see how many are left after I'm done with this and take it from there. But I will let you guys know either way once I decide what I'm going to do. Then after I answer as many of these questions as I can, I'm going to announce the winners of the giveaway. And again, there are 2 winners, one for international and one for US. It's going to be great, and I'm going to go ahead and put another timestamp linky thing down in the description box so you can just jump to the giveaway part if you don't care so much about the Q&A part. I will not be offended. Totally okay. But yeah, so I'm super excited to get into this, so let's get going. The first category of questions is general personal sort of questions. And to start off, I got 3 questions about travel. One is, where would you love to travel to that you haven't already been? What are some of the places/countries you really want to visit? And have you ever seen Italy? The last is easy because, unfortunately, no, I've never seen Italy, though I'm sure it's gorgeous and I would love to go sometime. I actually have not traveled very much. I counted it up and I've been in 11 states, though 13 if you count layovers where I didn't actually leave the airport, so like I was technically in the state, but I don't know if it totally counts. And even with the 11 others, most of those were times where I crossed a border into another state and was there for like an hour and then I left, so nothing terribly exciting. 4 years ago, I did go on a road trip with my roommate at the time to visit some of her family in Canada. That is the only time I've ever left the country, and it was very exciting. As far as where I would like to go, I would love to travel all over the place. I feel especially drawn to Europe and UK, Ireland sort of areas. I feel like there's a lot of books that I like that are set there, a lot of authors that I like that live there, and just a lot of generally pretty things that I would enjoy seeing. So that is definitely on my list. Hi, oh, Dr. Katz is here. We don't get to see Dr. Katz very much. No. Hey. I guess that's it. I would also really like to go to New Zealand and Australia someday, especially New Zealand though, just because of the whole Lord of the Rings Hobbit situation going on over there. Definitely would love to see that. Next are a few questions about my job. The first 2 are sort of similar. One is, what is your job? And the next says, I noticed some programming books on your shelf. Are you in a computer science related career? I'm about to finish my MS and CS, so I'd love to hear about what type of work you do. So I am in a computer science career. I don't have a master's degree, but I do have a bachelor's in computer science. My official job title is web development software engineer. The basic idea of what I do, I work for a company that makes, among other things, online forms, and I work in a group that maintains the engine that the forms run on. So for the most part, I'm working in Perl, Python, XML, little bits of JavaScript, jQuery, Java, HTML, CSS sort of stuff going on. Yeah, so that's sort of what I do. You mentioned you're a programmer. Does your profession color your reading selection? I would say it definitely does. I don't know if it's as much my profession as it is the general vibe of my company and my coworkers, but whatever it is, my reading definitely gets influence from my interactions at work. Sometimes this is technical books. For example, I didn't always work in Perl, so when I made the switch to my current position and I was going to start working in Perl, I went ahead and picked up a book on the language so I could get a better understanding and have a resource at hand. But I also happen to work with a lot of readers, and specifically readers who have pretty similar taste to mine. So I've gotten loads of book recommendations from my coworkers. We have really good discussions about books. We lend each other books, and it's pretty awesome. Also, the company that I work for, and specifically the department that I'm in, has a pretty big focus on just like bettering yourself and becoming a happier, healthier human being. And that has definitely influenced my reading and motivated me to pick up a few different nonfiction, self-help kind of books that have turned out to be pretty interesting. Do you speak multiple languages? If so, can you demonstrate them? I don't speak anything fluently besides English, but I've learned little bits of different languages. So apologies in advance to anyone I offend in any languages that I butcher here, but 我会说一点儿中文。私は日本語をちょっと話します。Then Spanish is the one that I know the most because my mom's side of the family is Mexican. We lived about an hour away from most of that side of the family, so I didn't interact that much with people who spoke Spanish except on holidays and such, besides my grandma. My grandma would speak to us in Spanish pretty often when we were little, and then that sort of lessened a bit as we grew up. So for the most part, we spoke English with just like occasional Spanish phrases thrown in there. Dame la mano, con cuidado, etc. I don't speak Spanish very well. I am much better with listening and reading. So I would say, yo entiendo español, pero solo hablo un poco. If you could read in any other language other than English, which language would you choose and why? Probably Spanish and Japanese, because those are the languages besides English that I know the most, so I feel like I'm closest to being able to read fluently in them. So that would just be cool to like finally get to that point in either language. If you had to relive one day over and over, which day would it be? A couple years ago, I took a staycation where I took off a whole week from work, just stayed in my apartment. I had a week trial of a new MMO that had come out, which was WildStar, if any of you played that. I had a ton of Data/Geordie fan fiction, as well as a really good Sherlock fan fiction that my friend Kelsey shared with me. And I had a bunch of delicious food and chocolate, and every day was just a combination of these things, and it was awesome. So any of these days I think would be my choice. What is your favorite animal? I have 3 favorite animals, which are otters, cats, and monkeys. What was your favorite subject in school? Definitely English. I loved English in grade school. I took every English class that my high school offered, and besides getting my computer science degree, I also got an English degree in college. If you had to pick one food to eat for the rest of your life, what would it be? Chocolate-covered potato chips. It's got the best of everything. What are your 5 favorite TV shows of all time? I would say the Granada Sherlock Holmes series, Star Trek The Next Generation, The Guild, Farscape, and probably like Home Movies, the animated series by Brendan Small. There's just something about that I really like that show. The next category is tattoos. How many tattoos do you have? I have 10 so far. Do you plan on getting more tattoos in the future? Without a doubt. I would like to know if you were confronted with negative reactions to your tattoos in your personal and or work life. My mom wasn't super happy about them when I first started getting them, but it's not like it caused a huge deal or anything. She just isn't as into tattoos as I am. And I know my grandma isn't a big tattoo fan, but I've never really gotten any like actively negative reactions to them. In fact, I get a lot of positive reactions, and people will like randomly come up to me on the street to say that they really like my tattoo. I've also never gotten any negative reactions in my work life, but I think a lot of that could be that I, for one, live and work in Portland, which is a very tattoo-friendly city. I also don't work directly with any clients. I am just a like code monkey in my cubicle sort of thing. In fact, at one point I was debating if I would like finger tattoos, and to science this out, I actually stayed late one day so my boss could draw on my hands with Sharpie, and then I could spend the next day just like seeing what I thought and seeing how people reacted and stuff. So clearly there is no problem there. Do you have any dragon tattoos? I do not. Out of all of your tattoos, which one is your favorite / closest to your heart? I would say the tattoo on my left thigh, which is a portrait of my kitty Dargo posing as Sherlock Holmes. This was one of my favorite tattoos in general, but Dargo is also the kitty who passed away earlier this year, so the fact that I have this tattoo to remember him by just makes it extra special and extra close to my heart. Now for a few Mosa questions. What would Mosa's favorite book be? Mosa's favorite book would probably be Sue Slate by Lee Lynch, because this is the book where Mosa's name comes from, and let's be honest, Mosa's pretty into herself. Which character from literature do you think Mosa is most like? This was a really interesting question because I had a similar question back when I hit 100 subscribers, but I feel like Mosa's personality has developed a lot since then. She's just about to turn 2 now, so she's kind of in that shift between adolescence and adult kitty, and it's been interesting to sort of see her mature a bit more and grow up. And so yeah, this was hard, and I actually just read Asteroid Made of Dragons, and there's a character in that book named Rhyme, and Rhyme is this like powerful, intelligent mage character who has sort of a diva attitude, but she can also be very sweet to the right person, and I feel like this fits Mosa. Mosa is definitely more affectionate than Rhyme is, but there's some similarities there, so that's my answer. Then what is Mosa's favorite toy, and maybe a video of her playing with it? Mosa's favorite toy is her pink string, and I am sure I have a video somewhere of it that I will insert here. Okay, on to BookTube specific questions. I got several questions about starting my channel. So what made you want to start BookTube? What inspired you to start a BookTube channel? How did you first get into BookTube? And just wondering what got you into doing bookish videos. My biggest influence for starting BookTube was my awesome friend Kelsey, who also has a BookTube channel called Kelsey Fish, which you should all check out and subscribe to. So Kelsey has been watching BookTube videos for quite a while, and she is actually the person who let me know that BookTube was actually a real thing that existed. She recommended a few channels to me, and before long I was completely obsessed. And then at one point she told me that she was thinking about starting her own channel. And I had secretly always wanted to have a YouTube channel, but I was always too afraid to actually go for it. And it just so happens that right about this time I had been reading a book called The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. And this book talked about so many things that really connected to this situation. It talked about how we are all vulnerable to making mistakes and how we just need to embrace it and go forward, and how so often we are afraid of making mistakes, and because of this we will just not do things that we want to do out of that fear. And so reading all of this definitely helped me realize that I was doing that, and then having Kelsey talk about starting a channel at the same time, and just really everything came together and helped me get the motivation to start my own channel. So I did, and here I am. Who's your best BookTube buddy? Based on my last question, I would have to say Kelsey, but I've made so many awesome friends through BookTube. Just to name a few off the top of my head, Nicole from Dorka Brain, Sam from Sam and Nonsense, Chris from A Stitch in Time, Brittany from Under the Radar Books, Elena from Elena Reads, Gabrielle from Frumius Reads, on and on. I could go on all day. So many awesome people, so many great friends. Which booktubers inspire you the most? Again, I could ramble for days about this. I'm going to go with the booktubers that I really latched on to right when I was thinking about starting BookTube / right when I did start it, because I feel like they will always have a special spot in my BookTube heart. And those would be Elizabeth from Books and Pieces, Sam from Sam and Nonsense, Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings, and Jean from Jean's Bookish Thoughts. Then I got a couple questions asking about my favorite booktuber. So many, I can't name just one. And in fact, I'm gonna just put a pin in this question because I plan to do a shout out video soon, and I'm hoping to start doing those on a fairly regular basis so I can just share some booktube love. Do you plan out your videos with a script, or do you just push record and wing it? For the most part, I just wing it, but I do make notes for some videos like reviews and wrap-ups. Otherwise, I just tangent all over the place and it's chaos. So those notes help me keep on track a bit, but I never actually write a full script or anything. What video are you most proud of? I would say I'm most proud of the SFF tag video that I did because that was the first tag video that I was ever tagged to do by another booktuber. My channel was really new at the time, and I was tagged to do it by Michael from Bitten by a Radioactive Book, who already had over 1,000 subscribers at the time. So I was just kind of in awe that he was actually like watching my videos and tagged me to do a video, and I was really nervous about my answers, but in the end I actually felt pretty good about them. So I've always just kind of felt proud about how that one turned out, just because it was so scary going in to begin with. Then, do you think you'd want YouTube as a career or just for fun? I fantasize about having YouTube as a career, basically. I don't know that it's reasonable to expect YouTube to be a future career, but if somehow that was a thing that happened in my life, I would be so happy. I would love to make YouTube my career, or just to have a bookish career in general. And to be totally honest, I have actually been researching a few ideas that I have for different bookish project things that could potentially start me down that path. But we will see how those all turn out. And should my channel not like explode into internet fame and have this be my career, I will be more than happy to keep it as my hobby because I love BookTube and it's fantastic. We can all dream our dreams. Moving on to the biggest category of questions. This is general reading / bookish questions here. So first, what is one of your favorite fantasy series aside from the Memoirs of Lady Trent? I have many favorite fantasy series, but to grab one at random besides Memoirs of Lady Trent, I will say the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. Your favorite male book character? I would have to say Sergil from the Night Runner series. I feel like Sherlock Holmes is maybe a close second, but Sergil is sort of a Sherlock Holmes type of character, except he doesn't have the issues with women that Sherlock has. Sergil is not only a queer character himself, but he's also just got a more feminist mindset, which I of course approve of. What is your first book memory, and do you remember the first book you've read? The first book that I really remember reading myself was The Little Red Hen. I remember going to the library with my mom and getting The Little Red Hen over and over, and that was my favorite book to just read by myself. Then this is another one where I got several very similar questions, all asking, what series or book were you obsessed with as a child? What was the first book that got you into reading? What was the first book that made you fall in love with reading? I would say the Dear America series, as well as the Royal Diary series. They were very similar, both made by Scholastic Books, and basically were formatted like a diary. With the Dear America books, they were all written from the perspective of someone experiencing some sort of pivotal moment in American history, like a pioneer girl going on the Oregon Trail, someone living through the Civil War, a suffragette, stuff like that. Whereas the Royal Diaries were all written from a royal perspective. So I remember there was one from Marie Antoinette and Cleopatra and stuff like that. So kind of all over the place, but I really enjoyed those. I would read those all the time when I was little. Who gave you your love of reading? That would be my mom. What is your favorite place to read other than a book bath, and favorite reading spots? I would say right here in my nook. This thing that Glurb is sitting on is a Chase lounge thing. I have a mound of pillows and blankets that aren't very cute, so they aren't in the shot here, but yeah, I just strew them about on my Chase and I lay there and I read, and it is fantastic. What is the one book that has influenced your life the most? I'm going to actually say this is probably a tie between The Well of Loneliness by Radcliffe Hall and The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. If you could sit down and have tea with any character or characters from a favorite book or series, who would they be? I'm going to mix and match here a little bit because I feel like I would really enjoy to sit down and have tea and generally hang out with Mary Russell from the Mary Russell Sherlock Holmes series by Laurie R. King, Isabella from the Memoirs of Lady Trent by Marie Brennan, and Brienne of Tarth from A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. I just feel like that would be a super awesome group to hang out with, and I want that to happen. How many books do I have with autographs? I actually have 10 autographed books. What is one genre that you don't read a lot but would like to branch out into more? That is horror. I don't read horror like ever, but I would definitely like to start reading a few more horror books here and there. And then I could not wrap up this category without answering this question. Love this one. If you were to assemble a team of 5 book characters for a heist, who would you pick and why? And a difficult level would be that only one of the 5 can be from Night Runner. So this was hard and I gave this a lot of thought. I think that I am first going to have Sherlock Holmes from the original Sherlock Holmes series. Then I'm going to do my Night Runner pick as Alec. I think because Sherlock and Sergil are kind of similar personalities, they would just end up butting heads if they were on the same heist team, but because they're very similar and because Alec and Sergil work together very well, I think Alec and Sherlock would then work together pretty well. I'm then going to get Mary Russell because she would clearly add a lot to this and would work well with everybody, I think. Then Darrow from Red Rising because he's like clearly really good at infiltrating places and is like the muscle of the group, and he needs some of that. And finally I'm going to pick Shade or Chade or however you pronounce that from Robin Hobb's Farseer trilogy, because I feel like if the other 4 just like ended up in a big mess, he would just swoop in and finish the heist and disappear all assassin-y style, and it would all be okay. Then the last category of questions is dragons. I got a lot of dragon questions just because of the giveaway and such things, I'm sure. So let's go through just a few of these and then move on to the giveaway itself. So, would you rather be able to shapeshift into a dragon or have a pet dragon? I think it would obviously be super cool to shapeshift into a dragon, but I have to go with a pet because I just have a thing for having these like amazing, magical, fantastical pet friends like a dragon or his dark materials, demons, or like a Mosa kitty. She's pretty magical in her own way, so yes, I would just like a dragon friend, like Glurb, but like alive. That would be fantastic. Speaking of Glurb, the next question is, where did you get your friend sitting next to you? Glurb comes from squishables.com. I will put a link down below if you want to check that out. If you could live in any fictional world that features dragons, which would you pick? And I would say the Night Runner series / Tamir Triad world created by Lynn Llewellyn has dragons, has magic, also has awesome like feminist and queer friendly society, all kinds of good things. If you could be a dragon, what color scales would you have? Or would you have scales at all, perhaps more of an amphibious dragon? I like the idea of like water dragon because obviously I'm super into like the book bath thing, but I also don't think I would like the potential slimy effect of being an amphibian. So I feel like I would probably have scales, and I think I would enjoy having sort of like a goldenrod mustard yellow / deep red maroon kind of combo going on with some black accents here and there. It just like feels right to my soul, my dragon soul. That would be me. Okay, and the final dragon question, which I loved. This is so good. A book is written where Sherlock Holmes is a dragon writer. Are you the author, the first person to get in line, or not interested? So I'm totally interested, so the third option is just out the window already. I feel like I could go with either of the first 2. It does seem like the kind of outlandish idea that I would like randomly think of and get super excited about and then, like potentially write a book about. However, I kind of hope it's the second one because I just want someone to write that and write it well and then to experience it as a reader. I think that would be magical. So if someone did that and I heard about it, I for sure would be first in line to pick that up. No question. Okay, so that was so much question answering and I don't even know if I got half of them answered. So I will let you guys know if I'm going to do a part 2 or just answer questions in the comments or what. But for now, let's move on to the giveaway. Let's start with the international giveaway, which the prize is $25 US worth of books on Bookdepository. And I have my laptop right over here, which is where I've been reading the questions. And I have everybody who entered for the international giveaway in a random name picker, and I'm just going to select one. Also, I apologize in advance if I terribly mispronounce anyone's name. I'm so sorry. Not intended. Okay, here we go. Picking Marta the Reader. So Marta, you have just won $25 US worth of books from Bookdepository. I will send you a message on here, or you can let me know if there's a better way to get in touch with you, and you can let me know which books you would like and I will have them sent your way. Next is the US giveaway. The prize for this one is a little box that I curated with the general idea that I'd be sending you the supplies to take a book bath. I did this for my 100 subscriber giveaway, but that one wasn't really themed so much. This one has a theme, and the theme is dragons. This box includes 4 goodies, the first of which is a bath bomb from Lush, and this is the Dragon's Egg Bath Bomb, which besides fitting the theme is also just an amazing bath bomb. This is actually my favorite Lush product that I've yet tried. It's got a light sort of sherbety smell to it, and yeah, just really, really nice. Love it. Next is some tea from Adagio. It's a little sample tin, and it came bubble wrapped, so I'm just leaving it bubble wrapped since I'm going to mail it to someone here shortly. But this is a chai tea. It's called Dragon's Dream. It has green chai, Assam melody, and cinnamon as the main components. And I don't know if you can see very well since it's got the bubble wrap, but it's got a picture of a sleeping dragon curled around a pile of gold. So yeah. Very cute, very tasty. I actually keep a bag of this tea at work now because I really enjoyed myself, so hopefully you will too. The book that I'm sending along is A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan, which is the first book in the Memoirs of Lady Trent series. It's a fantastic series, and I really just love everything about these books, so I'm very excited to share this with somebody. Then when I made my announcement video, I wasn't sure what the final item in the box was going to be. I knew that I wanted to have one more thing, but I was gonna have to look around a little bit. It is here, and it's all wrapped up, so I'm not going to open it, but I actually thought it was so cute that I got one for myself, and it's a little candle. I got mine in this lilac color, but the one I'm sending you guys is red, because this guy over here, which I think actually makes it easier to see, but it's a little sleeping dragon candle. You can kind of see it there, curled up, all cute and sleepy. And these candles are bergamot-scented, which bergamot is what's in Earl Grey tea, that sort of almost citrusy smell, and it's one of my favorite smells. I love Earl Grey, so I hope whoever wins does too, but it does smell really good. Now that we've gone over what's in the box, let's get a winner. And again, I've just got everybody's name for this part of the giveaway and a random name picker deal, so let's see what it says. Lisa Rollins. So Lisa, you have just won this delightful Book a Bath box deal. So I will send you a message as well, and we can get in touch so I know where to send it. Alright, so that wraps things up. Thank you guys so much for participating. This was so fun. I loved all the questions, and getting to do this giveaway, it's always a blast for me. So thank you all so much for participating, and thank you even more for subscribing and supporting my channel. It really just means so much to me, and I love being able to interact with you guys and talk about books, so let's keep doing it. Alright, thanks guys for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. I hope everybody's week is getting off to a good start, and I will talk to you later. Bye!